mind this morning is jobs, right? So we started out a little bit earlier talking about your first job, what you get paid. And I suppose the common thread there was it was easy to get a job. It was easy to move from one job to another. I mean, it was a lot of menial stuff. It was a lot of first-time jobs. It was pay per hour. It was that kind of thing. These days, though, the world works a little bit differently. And in fact, in some cases, completely differently. That kind of labor that involved kids has largely disappeared, has been ruled illegal. So 12, 13, 14, holding down a job, not so much. You've got to be 16 according to formalized labor regulations. You've got to be in school. You've got to be working as opposed to you're out there just on the weekends doing casual work and stuff, right? So we get that. But also work is in short supply. So people who land jobs tend to hold on to them, and there isn't that circulation of jobs. We also have an economy that doesn't grow as much as might have been the case back then. So variables and dynamics have changed, and the behaviors have changed. But then also when it comes to recruitment, things have changed.
Yeah.
Before, I mean, I remember you go in, boom, one interview, klar,
Yes.
they like you, you could start immediately.
It's an entire process now.
Now it's a process.
Online first, and then fill out a form here before
and then they
you
do
even
security checks, and
Absolutely.
it's a mission. I was chatting to a young person the other day, a much younger person, and she was sharing with me the story of having applied for a job more than a year ago,
Yes.
and only now finally having been offered the job. But in the interim, she'd landed herself another job, which is not necessarily what she was wanting. And had to have the awkward and uncomfortable conversation as part of resigning from a job that she was in. And they were like, but we like you and your prospects here are good. And she had to explain to them, well, actually, the thing I applied for, I didn't ever hear back from. I've now, yes,
insane.
and it's a job in government actually, and it's more aligned to the field that she had studied in. I mean, it just ticks a whole bunch of boxes. But I mean, months down the line, she hears back from them after having applied, heard nothing, ended up in another job where those people had earmarked her as a candidate for growth and somebody who could excel and be promoted and build a career with. And she's saying, let me rather remove myself from this and throw my lot in with the thing that I studied because I see more prospects for myself there. But I mean, that's just one example of somebody not having heard back and how almost devastating it had been. Go for the interview, apply for the job, you nail the interview, and then
that makes me so
crickets.
angry.
Yeah.
But can I tell you why my blood is boiling listening to this? Because the thing is, in the world that we live in, it's you want what you studied for, and it's so rare that now you are almost forced to take that. But you know, a part of me wants to say, to hell with you guys, you took long. But then she'd be shooting herself in the foot.
Yeah.
And it's unfair. Life is unfair, and I don't know how employers always seem to get the better of us.
But here's the question. Why are you advertising for a position that is actually not even like, if you're advertising, I would assume that you're looking for the person now.
Yeah.
Not 10 months
With
from
urgency.
now.
Yeah.
Exactly. So that's the other disappointing factor.
And I suppose maybe in this case, I mean, I'm just I'm sort of tying the dots or connecting the dots. I think it might have had to do with budget cuts.
Okay.
From national government to provincial government. At the time the job was advertised, there was money, and then
But then communicate
road,
that.
yeah.
but
communicate that.
exactly.
Say that.
This
Say
was
like,
it.
listen, we're not now, but
Yeah.
in a couple of months' time, we'll, relook at that.
Yeah, Shanae, just as an idea, saying, morning, I just received, or I recently started a job. I had to go through 3 interviews and an assessment, as well as a fingerprint process, sent them salary expectations, all those details, but also knowing what my previous salary was. This process is extensive. That's it. I applied for the Navy in 1994. I was sent a letter back. Sorry, my application was successful. Then in 1998, they called me to come in for an interview.
Hey.
And now I'll be 27 years in the Navy. Right, unsuccessful in 94. Actually, we've changed our
love
mind
that.
in 1998. Right, okay. But maybe the world works a
But
little...
that also just shows you that maybe that job was meant for him.
Possibly.
You know,
Possibly.
it may have taken long, but he eventually got what he, he
okay.
wanted.
Yeah.
27 years later, still in the Navy, that has no boats, no submarines, nothing. Wat, hulle het eers meer water in die Navy nie. Hulle het niks.
Stop it!
The Air Force don't have planes.
Stop it!
The soldiers don't have guns. The world is a different place now. Maar hulle het werk hoor. Hulle kry by
They in the Navy.